So chances are you're one of more than 23 million Canadians who will send and receive some 100 emails at work today. But are your email habits up to snuff, or is all that CCing, misspelling, and rambling leaving your coworkers confused or even worse? Bruce Mayhew is a communication training specialist. He's here to help us avoid making egregious email errors. Wow, what a topic, because everybody has either received or sent something that maybe they shouldn't have.
Absolutely.
In the past.
That's right.
And so I guess to begin with, what would be some of the top mistakes that people make?
Email has become sort of cheap and fast, so people don't think it costs any money to send it. So they just bash out an email whenever they have an idea or a thought, and they actually don't think about the end user and what the end user might do with the information
and how they're accepting it, right?
Exactly. So that's one of the big ones, that people are just being bombarded with fragmented thoughts.
One of the things that annoys a lot of us is getting emails that are, War and Peace. Like they're just, because, at the end of the day, you probably won't end up reading it.
That's right. Yeah. When you get a brick, it's just awful.
A brick.
A
okay.
brick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got an example. You brought an example of an email that would make your just eyes roll back in your head.
Yeah. Well, and that's a pretty tame example, really, in a way. But yeah, this is just a brick. It's just somebody writing without any thoughts about paragraphs or sentence structure. They're just mashing everything into an email and not thinking about how the person is going to use the information that's there or how they might respond.
So the better way?
So there's a better way, and what the better way is, and this is actually just the same, pretty much the exact same words as was in that first example, but structured a little bit differently. So it uses bullet points to identify to the reader what the main issues are and what they need to respond to.
And that's more news you can use, because you've got it and it's on quick reference.
Exactly. And now likely the person, when they respond, are going to be able to respond and hit all the points that the person needs and not miss anything.
We've been talking about one email from, for example, me to you. What about when I send one to you and you and you and you and you, and by the way of CC?
That's right. And that's costing, overuse of CCing is costing organizations an awful lot of money because it's including people that don't need to know about the information.
And maybe shouldn't know in some cases, right?
Well, sometimes, yeah. A lot of times people are CCing because they're protecting themselves or they're actually using it as a form of escalation and sending it to senior managers as opposed to, like, I want to get your attention fast, so I'm going to send it to my boss or your boss. But that's costing the organization a lot of money because it's occupying the senior manager's time and just wasting it.
Tone?
Tone. Awful. Yeah, tone's a tough one in an email environment because all of us, like the experience that you and I are having now, we have vocal inflection. I'm looking at you, we're nodding, we're using hand gestures. So there's a lot of tone that's involved in us understanding the message. Email is void of all that tone. And so when I'm sending you an email, if I'm not really careful how I phrase things, if you've just had a really bad meeting or a really bad day and you read my email, you're going to overlay your emotional environment onto my email, and you might get really hostile based on and misinterpret something that I've said.
Our producer thought maybe sometimes if you had a little smiley face so they know how to take it, it could help.
Yeah, smiley faces are good. You have to be a little careful about it because if you're in a serious environment, if you're talking to senior managers, you don't want to use childish terms.
Understood.
But but actually smiley faces are not a bad thing every once in a while.
It is a minefield though. Bruce, thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
And you can find more of these email tips on Bruce's blog. Go to our website, canadaam.ctv.ca for a link.